This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this date. And on this day, just a year ago, June 10th, 2023. Yes, I'm doing a 2023 thing. It was the Champions League championship from Istanbul, Turkey. It would be Manchester City representing the Premier League against Serie A, or Italian club, Inter Milan. This would be a major move. Manchester City was going for something that their crosstown rivals, the Reds, aka Manchester United, had done in 1999, and that's get the treble, winning the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the European Club Championship, or of course, domestic domestic cup, and European and Continental Championship. Anyway, so Wembley was supposed to host this Champions League final, and it would be big, but because of the COVID pandemic and all that, everything was shifted back a year. And so Munich was assigned the 2023 final. However, because the 2021 final, which was supposed to be in Istanbul, had to be relocated because of the pandemic, they gave Istanbul the 2023 Champions League final. Wembley would have the 2024 Champions League that finished up with, spoiler, Real Madrid freaking winning, as usual. Munich will have the 2025 Champions League final. For Man City, this was their third European final and second Champions League finals appearance ever. They were the Cup Winners' Cup champions in 1970. The Cup Winners' Cup was not the Champions League or Europa, if you will, not even the Tier 2 Cup. It would be a third tier cup. What happened was that every European league that had their cup winners, aka the FA Cup. You didn't necessarily have to win your domestic league. As long as you win your domestic cup, you would be in this thing called the Cup Winners' Cup, where all the cup winners would face each other in tournament play. That tournament ended in 2000, mind you. Man City won the 1970 edition and had not won a European championship since then, which was shocking because of how good Man City was in England, especially with winning all those Premier League titles in a row. They did go to the 2021 Champions League final, but lost to Premier League foes Chelsea. Meanwhile, Pep Guardiola was hoping to win his third title as manager. He had won two with Barcelona in 2009 and 2011. He actually won the treble with Barcelona for League Cup and Champions League. All that. When West Ham won the Europa Conference League final, or basically the third tier club competition in Europe, Manchester City became the English team with the longest European major trophy throughout 53 years. They would have to take on Inter Milan, who have been to their eighth European final and their sixth Champions League final appearance, while they're sixth under the Champions League belt. They were three-time champs. They won in 64, 65, and 2010. Also with a treble, Inter won the treble of League Cup and Champions League. 2010, that one. They had fallen to Celtic in 67 and Ajax in 72. But Inter were actually the most recent Italian club to win the Champions League when they did it in 2010. Only Juventus had been to a Champions League final, but they lost twice. So, anyway, this was the first time Man City and Inter would meet at a UEFA competition, which was amazing and all that. This was only the second time that the Champions League final was played at the Atatürk Olympic Stadium in Istanbul. The first one was historic because that was the 2005 one that saw AC Milan jump out to a 3-0 lead by halftime against Liverpool. And we all know what happened after that. Liverpool scored 3 goals in the second half and then went on penalties. Regardless of that, it was huge. Man City and Inter Milan went through the group stages. Man City scored 14 of a possible 18 points to win the group with Borussia Dortmund, Sevilla, and Copenhagen. Inter Milan took second in their pool to Bayern Munich, who were unfreaking stoppable, 6-0 in the group with Bayern, Inter, Barcelona, and Pleasant. It's weird how Barcelona took third place in a group, which was unusual. Regardless of that, Man City would face German club Red Bull Leipzig in the round of 16. After a 1-1 tie in Leipzig at home at Manchester City Stadium, they won 7-0 against Leipzig. In the quarterfinals, they would face Bayern Munich, the team that kind of screwed Inter Milan over, and Inter Milan was happy that Man City took coverage with a 3-0 win in Manchester helping them out. They would face Real Madrid in the semifinals and crush them 4-0 on home turf. In their 3 knockout games on home turf, they outscored their opponents 14-0. Unfreaking real. And on the road, they had 3 1-1 ties. So there's no place like home. There was a Roz trope. Inter Milan in the round of 16 took on Porto and only needed 1 goal to take care of Porto. In the quarters, they faced another Portuguese squad, Benfica. After winning 2-0 at Benfica, they trotted to a 3-3 tie at home, but the two legs have to win. They would face their eternal rivals AC Milan and beat them 3-0. Now, of course, when I talked about the 2005 final, I said AC Milan Liverpool. AC Milan faced Inter in a very contentious semifinal that basically the Inter fans were unruly and basically fucked everything up. So yeah, it was hard to believe all that. But yeah, it was huge and all that. Inter Milan was trying so hard and all that to do something. Man City started with a 3-2-4-1 format. 3 at the back, Ake, Diaz, and Akanji. 2 between defense and midfield of Rodri and Stones to kind of make it defensive midfielders. 4 midfielders wide of Grealish, Gundogan, De Bruyne, and David Silva, with Erling Haaland, the darling of Man City, with all his goal scoring creativity at center forward. Inter Milan would go 3-5-2, 3 at the back, Darmian, Serbi, and Bastoni. Midfield of Dumfries, Barella, Brozovic, Kalhanglu, a Turkish international, and DiMarco, with Lorenzo Martinez and Edin Dzeko up front. Oh, by the way, Man City had Ederson in net. Inter Milan had Onana in net. Man City made 2 changes. Phil Foden came in for Kevin De Bruyne in the 36th minute, and Kyle Walker came in the 82nd minute for John Stones. Inter Milan made 5 substitutions, which they were allowed to make 5 substitutions. In the 57th minute, they put Lukaku in the game for Dzeko. 76th minute, Raul Bellanova and Robin Gosens came in for Alessandro Bastoni and Denzel Dumfries, respectively. In the 84th minute, another double substitution. Daniel D'Ambrosio and Hendrik Mkhitaryan, former Man U player, came in for Matteo Damian and Hakan Calhoglu. There was 1 goal scored in that game. That was Rodri, a Spanish defensive midfielder, who scored with a side-footed finish after a nice pass from Bernardo Silva. And that made it 1-0. Inter would play defensively to try to prevent Man City from gaining momentum, but it didn't matter. Purple Rodri, as I call him, in the 68th minute scored. Inter had a chance with Federico DiMarco, but it hit the crossbar. And it didn't work out. Ederson would make a big save off of Lukaku in the 89th minute. Man City survived 1-0, as it was just amazing. They secured the Champions League title, their first ever as a club, and became the first new winners, the first debutant champions since Chelsea in 2012. Man City became the 6th English club and 23rd overall to win the European Cup / Champions League. And Man City would have the 10th European continental treble, but only the second British champion treble after Man U did in 1999 and all that. Pep Guardiola was a hero and all that. Scott Carson, who was the backup goalie for Man City, actually won as backup for Liverpool in 2005, which was strange. It took him 18 years between his first and his next European Cup title, which actually shares the record with Paolo Maldini and Alessandro Costacurta. And Julian Alvarez, who won the World Cup with Argentina, became the first player ever to win a treble and World Cup in the same season. So that was just amazing and all that. But yeah, Man City did what they wanted to do and what Man U did years ago. Of course, as a Man U fan, I'm pissed off at Man City. But the joke's on Man City because Man U won the 2024 FA Cup against the Blues and gave a bit of revenge, bitches. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Hey, I'm Jeff W.